Thank you for downloading this Brum Radio podcast. For more podcasts, visit brumradio.com.
Welcome to the Freak Scene podcast with me, Dave Travis, promoter, photographer, and friend to the stars, some of whom pop into the Brum Radio studios for a chat. If you want to listen to the whole show, which includes the music, then pop along to mixcloud.com/Brum Radio. Good evening, or good afternoon, should I say. This is Dave Travis on Brum Radio, and my guest this week is Lisa Travers. Hello, Lisa.
Hi, Dave. Thanks for having me.
That's good. We're going to play some... so tell us about that track first.
That was by the Fidgets, two young lads, Max and Ryan, who we've had play down the blue piano a couple of times. They've done loads of busking. They're just really, really good, and I thought that was a great little pop song, and we needed to play it. It's their new single.
Great, fantastic. We're going to be playing quite a lot of the acts that play down the blue piano. Yes. I guess you're sort of best known, aren't you, for promoting down there in the bar and
yeah, that's what's happened. I mean, I worked in the custard factory for years some time ago and was involved in things down there, but that's been the last couple of years for me, the blue piano.
It's a great afternoon. Is it the Friday sort of early evenings and the Sunday afternoons, just incredible atmospheres?
Yeah, we do the Sundays when there's a bank holiday, when there's a special weekend. We do live music every Wednesday and every Friday evening now.
Yeah, it's because when you look at it, it's just a small bar, isn't it? But the atmosphere in there is just incredible.
Yeah,
it's packed out most of the time, isn't it?
It can be electric. It's wonderful. We get lots of other musicians down there checking out the acts, so that's really cool. But also, it's a really big old house, so we have other areas we can use, like the garden, the lounge, and we do different events in different areas.
The garden works really well. The events I've been down to, you've been extremely lucky with the weather as well. Ryan Rances and Terry and Jerry.
Oh, we've had some fabulous ones, and we've got loads more to come this year, garden sessions this year.
You have got some coming up. You've got one. What's the next one in the garden?
The next one is the bank holiday weekend, end of April, Sunday the 30th. We've got Swamp Meat Family Band and Hannah Johnson and the Broken Hearts. Can't wait.
Fantastic. Yeah, Swamp Meat are an incredible band. They're
Brilliant
in Portugal band at the moment, aren't they?
I know,
In fact, they're playing in a venue just around the corner from a hotel I normally stay in. So
fantastic. We should all be out there, really, shouldn't we?
Yeah, there's a really nice, there's a sushi place, eat as much as you want, $12.95. Fantastic.
I bet they're there now.
I bet they've found that, yeah. So we're going to, the first bit of the show, we're going to play some of the bands that have featured at the Blue Piano. So what's next?
The next one is a tune called Happy Man. It's by a kid called Robert Jackson. I saw him busking about a year and a half ago. Waited, slipped my email address in his guitar case. He's ended up doing a bit of stuff for us down the Blue Piano. He's now working with a cellist, Isaac Collier. They call themselves A Different Thread. And this is Happy Man by A Different Thread.
That was A Different Thread. That's one of the bands that have played down the Blue Piano, promoted by my guest this week, which is Lisa Travers. No.
Okay, so next up we're going to play a track by a guy called Andrew Morton, who has been a massive support to me at the Blue Piano. He writes the most incredible songs, and there's been a lot of work created for him, I think, through getting to know other musicians at the Blue Piano. This is a song he wrote called Natural High. This version, he actually he plays everything on it, but it's part of a bigger project called Jazz Ballads with other artists we know, and I'll talk about that a little bit more later.
Andrew Morton's been around a long time, hasn't he?
Andrew Morton's been around
in the best possible way.
Yes, but he writes some great songs. I mean, he writes this song that I've chosen is a bit of fun, really, but it's a classy tune, and yeah, he's a good friend of mine.
Was he in Slender Loris in the 70s?
He was. Yeah.
A fantastic musical heritage there.
Definitely.
So that's Natural High and Andrew Morton. And my guest again this week is Lisa Travers. So that was great, wasn't it? That was really good.
He's a really great writer, Andrew Morton, and I love the way he's got involved with some of the younger people and some of the great jazz musicians that we work with. The next song we're going to play is by a guy called Ben Lee. It's the Ben Lee Quintet. He's been working with Andrew. There's been a lot of lovely exchanges going on, but this is just a funny little tune that Ben Lee did. It's great.
That's Jupiter and Mars from Judy Blue. Another regular down the Blue Piano.
Yes, Judy Blue has done some amazing gigs for us. Kind of from when I first started promoting there, which is about 3 years ago. And she's just a really classy, beautiful act. That was an original tune by her. We're going to see her on the 19th of May at Blue Piano with some special guests. Check her out. She's been part of loads of bands, different bands, but I love the stuff she's doing on her own at the moment, working with a young kid called Ian Silk, fantastic guitarist. Yeah, I love her.
Did it take off straight away down the Blue Piano? Or did it take away? Yeah, because I'm going to say it's probably about 2 years, I think, since I first went down.
It was tricky at first. We were in Edgbaston. There wasn't a lot going on around there at the time. There's more places popping up now, more pubs and hotels and so on. We had to work with the audience. We had to get to know everybody really well. And but when it did start to turn, it happened really quickly. And we went from having a few people in the bar on a Friday night sometimes to it's packed. It's packed. People are clamouring to get in there.
It's like a stone rolling down a hill, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
You know, the momentum gets faster as it gets to the bottom and as word gets out.
Yeah, and more and more people coming from other parts of Birmingham. It's not, just Edgbaston. It's not just Edgbaston locals coming to see us. So it became a bit of a destination, I think, and I hope it's still. I think it still is.
It's easy to get to, isn't it? It's sort of like it's a transport hub, isn't it? Really,
it's on the. We're an Edgbaston postcode, but we're really close to town, really close to Moseley, and I hope it's just really welcoming as well.
That's right. Yeah, it starts quite early, doesn't it?
We used to start about 6:30,
Yeah.
and it was simply because we'd have crowds
go home early.
crowds of after work drinkers.
Yeah.
And then we'd start a gig at 7, and half of those drinkers have left. We started going a bit earlier to try and capture everybody and keep them in the room. Now we can afford. We start about 7:30 on a Friday.
Yeah. Now there's a following and people come, specifically for the acts, I suppose. That's and the next band we're going to play is a band that we mentioned previously before, Swamp Meat.
We love Swamp Meat. Yeah, they're, as we mentioned, they're at the Blue Piano, 30th of April. They're just great. They get everybody dancing.
And that's in the garden, isn't it?
That's in the garden, yeah.
Which fantastic atmosphere, because it is just like someone's garden, isn't it? There is a stage area, but
well, we've built the stage area, and Sue Kwan, the owner of Blue Piano, she's from Singapore, so she's planted up the garden quite beautifully with all these palm trees, and it's just got a lovely vibe out there.
Yes,
I think we're the best beer garden in Birmingham, but
it's
some people might disagree.
It's certainly up there. There's quite a lot of them now, isn't there?
There are.
But it is a lovely space, and it works really well as a gig.
When the sun's out, you feel like you could be anywhere. Yeah,
and every time I've been, I've seemed to have known pretty much everyone there.
I like that. That's good.
Yeah, so we're going to hear Swamp Meat. That's the excellent Rhino and the Ranters, and love the way you roll. And before that, we had a slightly truncated version of Swamp Meat. There seemed to be some technical issue there. So we've got another version of it, and we're going to play that again in its entirety. Off you go, producer Paul. That's Swamp Meat and Stupid Kid in its entirety this time. And so what was that date they're playing at the Blue Piano?
Well, Swamp Meat we have on the 30th of April, end of this month. And, of course, we played Rhino and the Ranters. Before that, the link between them is Richard March, of course. We've got those guys coming at the end of May, 28th of May, for another Bank Holiday Sunday party, which is a thing we like to do at the Blue Piano.
Yeah, you can get advance tickets for those, I guess.
You can get advance tickets. You can call us up and just put some money down. We get you on the guest list. We just have these. We open up the house and the garden. We have these great parties. The track I wanted to play now is by two young guys, Harrison and Joe. I hope I'm remembering your names correctly. They're called As Mamas, so AS Mamas. And they are going to support Rhino and the Ranters on the 28th of May, and I just think they're brilliant.
Let's hear it. That's Sister V, UB40, off the Bag of Rhythm album. I guess, was that played a lot in your house when you were younger, Lisa?
Oh, no, not necessarily. I mean, we would always hear the demos before the album went out. My mum loves the band. She would probably play the records, but my dad wouldn't come home and put that on.
No, I guess not. No.
So that tune was a lot of that. They worked with lots of MCs, but that was the only female on the record. And I just loved that when I was a kid. And it's some of these women I've been meeting who have just got it about them, and it just reminded me of being so impressed with Sister V when I was a kid. So
you must have grown up around a lot of musicians, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. We were always meeting people. We spent a lot of time in Jamaica.
Yeah.
They met a lot of their heroes in Jamaica, and that was that was kind of mind blowing.
But people just pop around the house and you...
Yeah, it becomes very normal. I mean, Chrissy Hines, a great mate of my dad's. I still get nervous meeting people who I admire, but there were certainly loads of musicians around, famous or not famous, it doesn't matter.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it must have been interesting. I mean, Jamaica. How old were you there when you were in Jamaica?
Well, we started going to Jamaica. I was probably about 10, and I think as soon as they had the money to get everybody out there, they did it. The respect and love for Jamaican culture and Jamaican artists has just been part of my life from as long as I can remember, from my mum and dad. So, they were excited to get out there. We'd go backwards and forwards within a very short space. I suppose within a few years, Dad and Ali were making records out there, and we were hanging out with Sly and Robbie and John Holt. I made John Holt a smoothie one day. I didn't even know it was John Holt.
You told me
when I realised,
yeah.
It's because he's an older guy, long dress. I realised, blew my mind. I think I ran off. It was amazing to him. He was like Marvin Gaye to me when I was growing up.
Yeah, it's probably just as well you didn't know, was it? I
didn't know. He was just in the house. I went, do you want a smoothie? We're hanging out, yeah. Found out that, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm waffling.
No. Fascinating stories. Showbiz childhood.
Well, not too rock and roll. No. They always kept their feet on the ground.
No, I spent some time with someone that was brought up, sort of their stepfather was Keith Moon, which I would imagine was... It was a bit more chaotic.
Bit more rock and roll. Yeah. Our lot stayed around Moseley, Borsall Heath, Kings Heath, doing tours all across the world. When we were back home, we were back in Birmingham, and kept us very down to earth, I think.
Yeah, that's right. That's good. So what we're going to do next? The band.
We're just going to play a song that I like. I really got into, we were listening to loads of reggae and soul when I grew up, and when I became a teenager, I suppose my tiny rebellion was I went mad for Dylan and loads of 60s music, and the band. I fell in love with the band, and on this track it's Lee Van Helm drumming and singing. And
that's Hit from the Sugar Cubes, finishing our little 90s selection there from Lisa Travers, reliving her youth there.
Yeah, we were just saying, weren't we? I feel really lucky that I was a teenager in the 90s, because we'd be going to House of God, Nick Wales, House of God. Then the next Saturday,
Chris Wishart, House of God.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And then the next Saturday, we'd dance into some acid jazz at Sweat, going to a blues in Borsall Heath, and listening to dancehall and reggae. It was really mixed up and brilliant.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, good times. Maybe it's still like that, so I don't know. But, there's still lots of stuff to go to. I suppose as you get older, you get slightly different things.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff to go to. I just think, teenagers can stay in their cliques with the music they've chosen. We were very open.
Very open to
a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I think I was talking the other week to someone as well. So in the 70s and the 80s as well, you just went to everything really, just because. Just to try things out or just to get out. So it wasn't necessarily you wouldn't think, I just like this type of music, I'm only going to go to those events.
No, you just get somewhere good, wouldn't you? But also I think the pop music we were hearing in the 90s, for me, exciting stuff was still making it through.
Yeah.
Now I know some stuff comes through now, but it feels very formula. It feels, I don't listen to Radio 1 that much unless it's a specific show. It was different. It was the quality of pop music then.
Yeah. Well, you only need to listen to Brum Radio, really, don't you, to get
absolutely
all the local bands
Brum
as well.
Radio is brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant what you're doing for Birmingham.
Well, we had Arthur Tappin a couple of weeks ago, and we were playing like a whole load of bands that he's played with, and the quality of the band's fantastic. I think sometimes people miss out by not going to see local bands, local acts.
They do,
and get down to Blue Piano and see what's going on.
I also reckon Birmingham audiences are very discerning. You've got to be really good to impress a Birmingham audience. We're a bit like a village sometimes. Everybody tends to know each other, even though we're a massive city. but we're discerning, you know.
Well, you're right, because even though it is the second city, it is, everybody sort of knows everybody,
I
don't
think
they?
if you're involved in music or art,
Yeah.
you're kind of aware of each other, which is, we have to sort of make that happen because we don't have, say, the sort of centres of, you know, the custard factory is great. There are certain areas that people are drawn to. But you get to know the people doing the right things in the city. That's
right. Yeah, that's good. We're going to move away from the Blue Piano a little bit now, aren't we? We've probably given them enough airtime, haven't we?
We love the Blue Piano, but yeah. I wanted. Me and some friends of mine have recently started a night at the Cuban Embassy in Moseley, which is the Old Bull's Head. Absolutely brilliant little venue. We are doing a jazz night. It's called A Jazz Thing. Working with some great jazz musicians, but also two very good friends of mine, two DJs, Guy Carlos, Jim Evans, and we are that kind of, that hip-hop jazz crossover. We're playing with that. There's also a lot of music in between jazz and hip-hop that we want to play. And the next tune we're going to play is, I just want to dedicate it to Jim Evans, who's helped me out loads with this night. And this is a remix of Lush Life by Nat King Cole. Beautiful, beautiful classic song, serious lyrics, serious sentiment, one I kind of share, and I love this remix. That's
Nat King Cole giving the CeeLo Green treatment there. I've not heard that before. That's really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
That's what I like about the show, though. Like, you
share new music. That was courtesy of Jim Evans. I love it when people pass me a great tune.
No, that's good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and talking of good friends with great music, there's a guy called Elliot Taylor who started working at the Blue Piano about a year and a half ago on the bar, and for me has become a great support with the music we put on, and he helps me look after the bands. But also he's got an incredible music collection, and you know those times in between bands, the time after the band goes off, and you need to keep the vibe in the room. He just hits it right every single time, and has introduced me to lots of new and beautiful stuff. And I just wanted to play something that I know we both love, and it's a tune by Karen Dalton called A Little Bit of Rain.
That's A Little Bit of Rain from Karen Dalton. I was just saying while that was on, that's another track that I've not heard, and Karen Dalton I wasn't aware of before.
I can't believe that I am playing the Dave Travis music he's never. It's brilliant.
I was saying, when you get to my age, you think surely there's nothing left that I haven't heard.
No,
but
that's
great. Now I'm going to check some of that out, I think. But that's really good. We're going to move on now.
Yeah, I wanted to just play a little bit of old reggae. This is off Treasure Isle. Treasure Isle Makes You Smile. But this is a tune I heard a lot when I was younger. And my mum and dad got married when I was about 16. We were really lucky. They'd been on tour for ages. We end up in Hawaii and they've got 2 weeks off. So they decide to get married there, and they do it, and everybody's there. And Norman Hassan from UB40, one of my most favourite people, and such a great voice. And he was singing this to all of us at 3:00 in the morning. We're going to play the Joy Landis. He never recorded it. We're going to play Joy Landis singing it. But it's just a beautiful old reggae lovers tune, Moonlight Lover.
That's Moonlight Lover from Joy Landis. And I'm Dave Travis, and my guest this week is Lisa Travers, playing some of her favourite tracks and some of the local acts that play the Blue Piano, and now the Cuban Embassy. You've just started.
Yes. I should have mentioned, actually, our next night at the Cuban Embassy is April 27th, Thursday, April 27th.
Is that the upstairs room?
It's the upstairs room, yeah.
Is it how much do you pay to get in there?
Oh, it's £5 in. All the money goes to the musicians and the DJs playing. And we did the first one a few weeks back, and it was just fantastic.
Who played in that one?
Oh, well, Chris Bowden is leading the kind of jazz band that we're working with, and we had Jim Evans and Guy Carlos DJing, but it was a lot of people coming together. It was great. It was really great. And we were just talking about being introduced to, people showing you new music. And I've got a couple of really good links who send me really interesting stuff or show me something really interesting. I want to play a couple of more current tunes now. But each tune, I think I've been sent or found through another good friend, Joel Fennell, my friend in Bath. I lived in Bath for a few years, always sending me good music. Shad Everett, who I used to work with at the Custard Factory, always posts interest in music. Yeah, these are just a couple of more recent tracks that I'm into.
Okay, let's listen to those. That's Business from Tune Yards. That's another track I've not heard. Thanks very much for these, Lisa, because you've sort of brought loads of stuff in that I've not heard before. It's really good.
I was just saying, if anybody likes that tune, check out the video online. Absolutely brilliant video.
No, I'll be doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. Are we moving on to? Shall I talk about the next one?
Yes, next one. Yeah, you tell us what it's going to be.
I want to play something by Prince, Pop Life. I could choose any Prince tunes. I'm a huge Prince fan. I was really lucky when I was younger. A company called LSD, Lighting Sound Design, Simon Austin, Tony Beamer. They were doing all the Prince tours. They were doing all the UB40 tours. But I got to go and see Prince quite a few times live, and I was absolutely mad for him. And, sadly gone now, but he'll live on forever. And I just chose, I could choose anything but Pop Life, the lyrics. This is just a great song.
Yeah, probably. Light and Sound Design, they had a warehouse, didn't they, just by the Blues Ground.
Right.
Yeah, my friend Cal and some other people used to work there, but they had loads of his stage set, which he sort of finished using just in skips or stored out
I'll
the
tell
back.
you something,
There should be a rock and roll museum, really.
I was given by Simon Austin at like a 7-foot neon sign that was used in the Sign of the Times tour. Yep. It's my bit of pop history that I own. You
still got it?
Yeah, I was bouncing off the walls when he gave me that, so really, really lucky.
Yeah, he probably got it out of a skip, but
he might have done. He brought it round but
that's the thing, though. This stuff is, it's iconic to people and fans. It's like it's priceless, but to people that are just touring.
When
with
you've got to move on and do,
yeah.
and often the big people, their tours are finishing. There's a quick turnaround,
That's right.
and they're back on the road doing something else. So
that's it.
I was lucky though. I was lucky to be around these people.
Yep, and so we're going to play Prince, Pop Life. That's Prince with Pop Life, and that's another choice from my guest this week, Lisa Travers.
Yeah.
Talking about some of her favourite tracks.
Oh no, thanks for playing that. I love Prince.
So have you seen him live?
Oh yeah, good few times, and really blew my mind. There's no one like him. Great guitarist, fantastic.
So what did you say? Was it in this country or?
Always in this country.
Yeah.
Earl's Court, but a few places, but I'm lucky to be given the tickets and go there. Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah,
wonderful.
I never got to see him live, unfortunately, but it's an incredible experience, isn't it? Yeah,
blew my tiny mind.
Yeah.
The next thing I wanted to play was about 5-6 years ago. I was lecturing at Matthew Bolton College. In art's my background, so I ended up doing a bit of teaching and just have the most brilliant time with some of my students. They were all mental, young, loads and loads of fun with them. And when I was leaving the college, a kid called Paddy Canavan, who I'd been teaching some graphic design to, got me a ticket for this band Jaws. It's when this kind of Brumtown sound was coming about, and they loved this band, and he got me a ticket to the Hare and Hounds. We went to see Jaws. They were all getting chucked out for being too nuts. Jake Regan having to get them out the front door. But what Jaws, what a great Birmingham band. Just fantastic.
That's Staying from Jaws. Jaws are playing the freshly announced Beyond the Tracks festival as well, which is just around the corner from us, with Ocean Coliseum, the Twang, and Orbital Left Field, and loads of other people. And Juice and Mary Chain, editors, mustn't forget those. So that's going to be a great event. It's going to be
Sounds brilliant.
Yeah, good to have a lot of local bands on as well. I think. Yeah, you're going. Yeah,
definitely,
me too. Yeah, I'll be there.
Definitely.
So we've come to the end of our time, Lisa, I'm afraid.
Oh, thank you so much, Dave. It's been great.
You've been great. You should have your own show. You're better than me.
Honestly, I've really, really enjoyed hanging out with you and listening to music.
No, it's good. As I said before, there's some, quite a few tracks you played that I've not heard before. So
that's
really check those
cool
out.
to hear.
That's what it's all about as well. I hope
that's it.
People listening the same.
And what we were just saying, the next one I'm going to play is, I've always known who this guy was. But it's only in recent years through two very good friends, Russell Sprout and Julie Dredd, who love. We're going to play Nick Cave. Who love Nick Cave. I've really got into Nick Cave, and I mean the genius, the work he does, the stuff he writes. this guy's a living legend for sure.
But it is easy to overlook stuff, even big bands that you're sort of fully aware of, whatever, you just don't get round for whatever reason for listening to it.
Always knew who he was, the Kylie track in the 90s, he's been a figure there. I just never looked that closely. And when you do start looking at his work, it takes you somewhere else.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, thanks ever so much for coming in. We must do it again sometime. And there's loads of gigs there at the Cuban Embassy and at the Blue Piano.
Definitely.
Especially the garden parties. I really like those.
Thank you.
But the Wednesdays and the Fridays. So get yourself down there if you've not already been down.
Thank you for listening to this Brum Radio podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and rate us on your podcast app.